labor. Welcome back. Okay, so I don't really know how I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it the best way that I can say it, because that's all I can do. So I was seeing a lot of things that made me kind of do like a hierarchy of things, if that makes sense. So at the top of demonic activity, you have warlocks, and I feel like their little minions or the people that's beneath them are wizards. And then at the top of the female version of that, you have Jezebel, and then under her you have a whole bunch of little witches, right? So when I was in situations and thinking about this, I was noticing how you have little wizards and witches trying to fight to the top to be the head warlock and the head Jezebel, and that's like a thing for them. Like, they really enjoy going through the ranks of being demonic. And to me, I'm just like doing what I do on a natural basis, and see how these little witches and warlocks or witches and wizards think that like I'm in competition with them to be warlocks and Jezebel. Like, they got me all wrong. And I just be in the situations like really asking God, like, what is this? And what are you trying to teach me through it? And where's my place in this whatever this is, right? Because like, I'll see how a little witch would be able to do something to affect my day. And I'll be like, okay, Lord, like, why did you allow them to do that? Like, why did you allow them to, I guess, show some type of authority or higher ranking in their demonicness to me? Like, why are you showing me this? And the Lord was ministering to me through it, was like, these people do it because they're trying to get a higher ranking in their demonicness. I need to show you that you have something in, either they think that you have placed something above me, or I need to show you that you need to make sure that you don't place this above me. So I was just like, well, you know that I didn't actively just choose to be a part of whatever it is you got me going through or doing. Like, that's something that just happened, or I was born this way. Like, I don't got no better way to explain that. Like, I saw something, I just naturally agreed with how they do things, and I took a natural leaning that way. Like, that's just the way I was born this way. Like, I have no better way to explain that. So, like, if it came down to having to choose, do I fall under this ideology or that ideology? This ideology just makes more sense to me. Like, that's just it. If it came down to people being like, you know what, you just doing this because people made you choose this way, it's like, no, like, I just honestly understand their ideology better than yours. Like, what you do to me just does not make sense. Like, I don't agree with it. I just don't. So to pretend like I agree with the things that y'all do would not be just the natural me. It just wouldn't. So God was telling me, like, on their playing field, like, that's something that they want you to prove. Like, you have to prove these things to them. They go through these different things to make people feel like you chose this way, you got to make sure that everybody knows that you chose this way, and you're going to always choose this way. And it's just like, I don't do it for their reasons. Like, it's funny, but it's really not. So when I was sitting back just talking to God about it, I'm just like, bro, like, people die behind the ideology of this, Lord. And he's like, yeah, I allowed that to happen because they put that on a pedestal above me. And I'm just like, I can understand how you would do that, because you've done it quite often, making sure that people don't idolize different things and put things above you. And it's just like, even though I understand that, the little witches and the wizards don't understand that perspective. They don't even believe in you. So how is you making me go through this gonna help them or help me combat the nonsense that I go through with them? Because they think I'm in competition with them, where I'm just really just trying to please you. And he was just like, I don't know. He just allowing it. And I don't like it. He allowing it. And I guess it's to help me get a better prayer way. I don't know. Because, like, I hate to say it like this, but it is what it is. The way I grew up in the Lord or church or getting to know God has truly been like a one-on-one. Like, God had to teach me himself because I wasn't learning from other people. Like, I grew up in church, and that's the thing. Like, you would think the church would prepare you for these things, but I don't know if they scared to prepare people for the things that really take place out here, or they just don't know how to prepare people for the things that are going out here because they're not going through it. Or I don't know from their perspective. I can't give you nobody else's perspective or walk. I just know what I go through and how God is teaching me through it himself, because even from way back then, I really didn't have no examples to show me through this. And the people that I thought were supposed to be examples or show me how to go through this, they playing in the demonic field with the rest of them. So it's just like, Lord, teach me. If it's got to be just you teaching me through this, show me what I need to know so that I can help people through the way that I wish somebody would have helped me through. Or, just for me to know how to combat this stuff, because, like, it gets heavy. And granted, I feel grateful when other people do express, like, the different ways that they're overcoming through these situations, and how, they get through it, and seeing examples of how they get through it, because it teaches me to modify what God has showed me to help get through it too. So when it came to prayer, like, I was listening to another woman of God pray, and I was just like, okay, Lord, I hear how she praying, but I ain't wired like that. So, like, if I pray to you like that, it's gonna sound fake. It's not gonna feel natural. It's not gonna come off genuine. And I really need to know how to combat this stuff. And if it's prayer that I need to work on to combat this stuff, I need you to teach me how to pray through these things, because what I'm praying, it just, I need it to do what it's doing, and to me, it don't feel like it's doing what it needs to be doing, Lord. So, I dislike when I'm coming to God genuinely, and it's made like a mockery of, because it's like, this is my natural, genuine relationship with God, and the enemy's still able to do what the enemy does, even though I'm coming to God with like a sincere heart. So it's just like when things like that take place, it has me questioning my relationship with God. Not saying that it's like, God, are you real? That's not the case. It's more so like, God, what am I doing that's not correct, that you don't hear my prayers through this? Like, what are you trying, what do you need me to change within myself for you to hear my prayers? Because everybody has me thinking that it has to be works when clearly it's not works. Because if I do everything by the book, by everybody else's standard, things still come in the midst, and people are still able to do demonic stuff. So that's not the answer. And it's like, that could be the point of what God is trying to show people, because there is a demonic system out there that's trying to get people on this social, what is it called? That's the enemy itself trying to make it slip through my mind so that I don't tell y'all what's really going on. But social credits, like, there are other places that are going through social credit systems, and that's the thing that they're trying to bring here, which doesn't make sense to me, because it's just like, if you look at those places and how their people are doing, like, their people aren't living at their best. Like, their cities don't look their best. Like, they look oppressed. They look like they're slaves. Like, that sounds horrible, and I don't mean to bring it out that way, but the way that they have things for their area, it shows through what it looks like in that area. And it's like, for a country that's free, and you are willingly bringing that over to this area, is mind-blowing to me, because you see what's going on over there. So why would you be okay with that happening here? And what took place in my mind was, when the witches and the wizards was doing what they was doing, like, the witch said something about Germany, and it was just like, I don't sit back and think about Germany. I don't sit back and think about India. I don't sit back and think about Russia. Like, these are not places that I just actively start thinking about on a day-to-day basis, like what they got going on in their country, how they running their people, or, what's taking place in their societies. I just don't. Because, not that I don't care about the people, it's just that I'm here in America, not trying to make these places a big thing in what I'm speaking about, but it comes back to just like the demonic oppression over these areas. So it's just like, I'm here just trying to walk out my walk with God and teaching people about Jesus Christ and what he does in my life, but God's allowing people here to speak about these other places, and then their demonic activity can show up in my life. Like, God, what is that? Like, how is that helping free your children? Or how is that making anybody not oppressed, when whatever they going through over there, you just allowed to happen to me here in a place that's supposedly free? Me walking in a place that's supposed to be free by believing in your son Jesus, and you just made me feel like the most mental person in the room, or you just let me feel like the most highest person off of the highest drugs that they've ever been on. Feel like what? Like, don't interrupt or disturb my temple with what these other people's temples are like. Like, I'm not cool with that, Lord. So why did you let that happen? And God was just like, well, I'm trying to test you to see if you put in these other people in their ranking systems above me. Like, who do you believe in? Like, I have to make sure that you doing things for me too. And it's just like, but don't you know me? Don't you know me? And it's just like, God does these things. And it's just like, he's going to prove a point to these people to show who his children are and how his children, how he teaches his children compared to these people and how they do things in whatever they got going on as well. So God was just like, even though the witches and the wizards and the warlocks and Jezebel feel like she's able to run amok through whatever region or area or situation or, individuals, like, no matter what, it still has to come back to who do you have as the leader of your life. And as long as you come back to that foundation, he's going to sustain you through it. So it's still a lesson for you, even though he's teaching them as well. Like, I really wish I could explain that better, but that's just how it came out. There was another point. Give me 1 second to think about it. It was about how I've seen videos where there's like other countries talking about America's leadership needs to tell Americans about other entities, right? And they're talking about like aliens or things like that, right? But the way God showed me what is really meant is, it's not aliens. It's demons. Like, to put it plain, like, America, like I said, as far as like growing up in church and not feeling like they really taught me how to combat different spiritual warfare, I feel like that's what they meant. And America's still trying to sugarcoat stuff and make it seem all outer worldly, just because I don't know what to tell you about America. I can't give you no answer with that. But instead of just letting they people know, like, there are demons out there trying to possess your vessel. And if you believe in Jesus and God, you might be able to make it through it. But if you don't, they gonna make money off of these mental institutions. So it's up to you. You can get with this or you can get with that. But at the end of the day, the choice is yours. But nobody talking about this stuff. And here we are with people's vessels being possessed and people really trying to fight through it, and they don't have no answers to what's going on, and nobody's talking about what's going on. And the people that are trying to talk about what's going on, they getting attacked by the enemy all over. So there's that. I was watching a movie that was pretty much talking about how Satan kind of possessed this lady to possess her child, right? And while Satan was in this lady's uterus with this baby, he got upset because the baby's spirit still showed that it loved its mom. So he's demonically talking to this other witchy lady, right? And the witchy lady's just like, I wish I could have held your child for you. And the Satan in this movie was just like, he fully want to possess this child, but the child still has a liking or a loving towards his mom. And it was making him upset. So it's just like, to me, it felt like, that's that spiritual warfare that takes place between us and God. Like, the enemy wants to fully possess us and work out his will, but Holy Spirit is still within us, trying to combat our love for God through what's taking place in this world. And the enemy doesn't like it, so he's trying to fight it as most as he can. And what's crazy to me is how the people of this world are so fully possessed that they're really following through on what Satan has planned, that they're creating things to make whatever he has planned take place as quickly as they feel like they can possible. I don't know if people know what CERN is or how CERN works, but from what I've experienced, I can't say that it's just what I've read or learned or heard or saw as videos. What I've experienced is, once they turn CERN on, it does something vibration wise that interferes with you molecularly. Like, it vibrates so high that it affects your frequency to adjust how you react to things, how you think about things, and just it can really just change you. And I don't know if them shots that they gave out help with that, being able to move through people, but I have felt how it'll knock me out to be able to manipulate like my dreams, or to manipulate people to be able to project things through phones. And I don't know a better way of explaining it, but it's all demonic and it's all happening. And all I can say is get your soul right, and only God can save us. You might not believe the plan that God has to combat this, but I believe it. And whether there's a rapture or not, we're living through a lot of this stuff happening right now. So, regardless if there is or there isn't, I'm still going to believe in Jesus Christ to cover my sins, so that whenever God does come and destroy all of this demonicness, I'm in good standing with him, so that I can live in the place that he calls paradise for eternity. Because I don't want to live in what's taking place right now for eternity. Like I said, they've created a way to make what should have just been entertainment as reality. So when I'm watching a movie and the movie's telling me that it's going to do whatever it can to make me remember the worst things that I've ever done, just to make me feel demonically oppressed every day, that sounds like hell to me. And if this is a mini hell, I don't want to live in this for eternity. This isn't even it cranked up to its highest, is what I'm trying to say. Like, this might be like a level 3, category 3 hurricane which I feel, don't they say them is still kind of extreme too? So the fact that it could get worse just makes me want to tell people to get their life together so that they can live in eternity with God. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, that's something you're going to have to take up with God. Like, he's going to have you stand at the seat of judgment with him when it comes to that day for him. But for people to be on earth feeling like they are God or they're in the place of judgment, to make people or force people to go to confession towards them, that's something you're going to have to take up with God as well. But that's not for me to place judgment on you about. All I can do is take what I've experienced, use it as a testimony to the next person so that they can hopefully get their life together and get right with God on their terms. But that was a lot in itself, and there's a lot more to say, but that's just how I'm going to end it today. And yeah, until next time.